And I am so excited to introduce Leo Vickman, who came over from Sweden to talk about infinity puzzles. He started designing these in 2017, and he's going to give us a really cool introduction to himself, and it's going to be interactive and very fun. So, Leo.
Hello everyone. Hello. Wow, speaking in a mic. So this is the first time I do this. I'm very excited. And so we're going to start this presentation with one person standing up from every table and going over to that corner and picking up one small puzzle, because this is partly an interactive presentation. So one person from each table go to the corner and turn one little puzzle. Okay, everybody. It looks like everyone got their small puzzle. I call it the introduction. So it's a 6-piece puzzle. It has about 60 combinations. So, hello everyone. My name is Leo. And thank you so much for inviting me over to this gathering. It's really, it's so weird for me. It's super nice. It's like, it's not always I spend time with puzzle makers and puzzle enthusiasts. And I'm a little bit nervous. I'm also not very used to talking to like a lot of people, but I will do my best. So, I'm here to do a presentation about my biggest passion in life, the infinity puzzle. The puzzle that I didn't intend to make, but happened to fall into my life piece by piece. Okay. So I made 3 puzzles, and this is the biggest one I made. It's the 96-piece puzzle, and it took me 4 years to design it. As you can see, there's no straight edge or corners to the puzzle. And each piece in itself is a small work of art. And it's a shape-based puzzle, so the colors doesn't really overmatch in between characters. For example, this is Tony the turtle, and he loves to take a dip in the ocean, because that's when Wally the walrus comes back to shore. But this is not a normal puzzle, because it's an infinite puzzle. And now I would like to show you how that works. So here's another of my infinity puzzles. It's a smaller one, it's 32 pieces, but it works in the same way. So each piece in the outline can be moved to at least one other position. So you can move it to the left, to the right, and up and down. And this gives the puzzle tens and thousands of combinations. So that's why I call it the infinity puzzle. So how did I come up with this idea? That's the story that I'm going to tell you. Okay, so now I'm holding the mic a little bit closer. I hope you can hear me. Great. Okay. So at the age of 25, I was very interested in the Tao philosophy. So the author of Tao Te Ching famously said, by letting it go, it all gets done. And this is all about going with the flow, being present, and accepting life as it comes. So when you let go of expectations and trust the journey, then magic appears at every corner. And in October 2016, this way of life led me into a long bike ride. So I started in Stockholm, Sweden, which is up there. And I set out into the unknown with no money and no goal. Within a week's notice, I collected all the gear you need to do a solo bike tour. I had a tent, mattress, sleeping bag, kitchen, clothes, tools, and of course, a sheet of paper and pencil to entertain my creative itch. And now I was ready to hit the road. And when you go on an adventure, you will for sure run into obstacles. But you have to solve them when they arise. After 1 week's biking, I made it to the most southern town of Sweden and crossed over to Denmark, where I ended up in a wood shop on the countryside. This is when I met this legendary person, Jon B. Jensen. He had a simple house in the middle of the meadows with a wonderful wood shop, filled with tools and different pieces of wood. And he told me, you can stay here as long as you want, as long as you create something in the wood shop. As long as you create something in the wood shop and smoke cigarettes. He gave me a rub on the shoulder and slammed 2 packs of John Silver into my hand, and that's when it all began. I turned around and went into the workshop and started to look around. So I went into the barn. I found a thin piece of oak wood. He had a lot of small, beautiful pieces of wood. And then I started to sketch out a few characters on the board. Then I found a beautiful old jigsaw on the sawdust, and I cleaned it up and started to cut out my first puzzle. And it turned into 11 animals, from cats to dinosaurs. It's not an infinite puzzle, but it's very pretty. It's a cluster puzzle. Thank you for getting me. I didn't know it was called a cluster puzzle before, so thank you, Anne. So this little puzzle became my travel token throughout Europe. So since I was traveling without money, I stayed with families along the way. And with me I had this little gift, this little puzzle. And it worked as a perfect icebreaker for conversations, and it also gave me a lot of insight into continue my puzzle journey. And the little puzzle brought so much joy to the people I met. It turned on a spark of inspiration within me, and I could sense a feeling of purpose growing. And with that growing inspiration came a lot of ideas. And I thought to myself, how can I do this better? What if I put more effort into the design? So I started sketching on what was to become the first infinity puzzle while biking around Europe. Seven months later, I come to the end of my journey. I packed my bike into the truck of a car back to Stockholm. And I was now finished with the design of the first infinity puzzle, and I was ready for the next process. So I found an artist studio where they had a laser cutter, and luckily they had an education on how to use the laser cutter the same week. So it took me some mistakes. But finally I finished my first prototype. And on that very day I had a company of a 10-year-old boy. We laid out all the pieces on the table and assembled them together. Then we started to move around the pieces, and this blew my mind. This was the first time I tried it. So we can move it in all directions, and we even put it on a straight line. And when the boy's mother came, he didn't want to leave. And that's when I understood that this was something special that I created. And I've carried with me everywhere I go. And what I've learned so far is that kids really love it. And people with autism too, they get really intrigued. They can go on forever. And adults love it too. And I've used it in like team exercises, and it creates a spark of inspiration and creativity. And I also done a few workshops with kids, and they get to color their own puzzle pieces, and they really love it. And I appreciate it too. So, fast forward 7 years until today. I have created 3 puzzles. The 16-piece dude, and a 32-piece leap, and a 96-piece summit. And together they make 144 colorful characters. And if you assemble them in the right way, you can make one big puzzle out of them. But it's really hard. So creating this is the most fun thing I've ever done. It's such a fun game. As an artist, it's the best thing I've ever done. So now I would like to share my designing process. So when I start to do a new puzzle, I always start with a blank sheet. And there's always anxiety with a blank sheet. So I try to keep it simple. I draw one line out of impulse. So it has to be a line that it's going to work as a good puzzle piece. So it has to be satisfying, it has to be pointy somehow. I mean, all of you guys know what a satisfying puzzle piece is, so. But from this point, I try to activate my imagination. So one way to do that is to twist and turn the sheet, seeing it from different perspectives that open up a lot of visions. So this could be a fish. Or it could be a dog. But sometimes it's good to kill your darlings. So I try to challenge my creativity by approaching the problem from different angles. And this is so much fun. But I think we should settle on this dinosaur. It's important that the puzzle piece in itself have a lot of characteristics. So there's like arms or tails, heads sticking out in different directions so they interlock. But from this shape, it's time to find another character. So one trick that I sometimes use is to just add one little eye. Like that. And for me, this opens up more visions. So I think this is another dinosaur. Okay, so now I want to add one more character. Here's the hippo. So we could go on forever like this, building a cluster of characters. But now I want to show you how to make this infinite. So to make this an infinite puzzle, we have to make a pattern matching out of it. So this is how you do that. Dink. And when you do the pattern matching, it creates a hole in the middle. And to make a full pattern of it, you have to fill the hole with characters. And this is a very tricky part artistically, because you have to, there's limitations in all directions. So it's very hard, but it's also very satisfying when you find the characters. Sometimes I sit and laugh for minutes when I find one. So it's a little bit hard to see, but it's a moose and an upside down bird. So we have 2 dinosaurs, a hippo, a moose, and a bird. A 5 puzzle piece. So when I found all the characters, then I started to color them. And when you've done that, you can multiply it in all directions. So this is how my process looks like, but it's I go a little bit deeper into the process. Sometimes I spend weeks to find a puzzle piece. And it's so much fun. I really love it. So this all started as a creative game for me. I just had fun, and then I showed it around, but since then it's been growing so many questions and sense of wonder within me. And like, who are these characters? Where are they from, and how do they connect with each other? For example, I call this leopard Leo. So where is he from, and what is he looking at? What's his secret power? Maybe he can feel the future. He could have many stories. And maybe he has stories intertwining with his connecting friends. I imagine that maybe they went to school together, maybe that's how they know each other, or maybe they've just met. And in my way of looking at it, the closest people to him is also the characters that shaped him to be the person he is today. Exactly like us humans, that we're kind of shaped by the closest people around us. So in the same way this puzzle works. Yeah, the puzzle works in the same way. And for example, I imagine that the swan met this pirate on a desert island. And in the end, I imagine that all of these characters have stories intertwining in one big cluster of stories. And that's a very intriguing thought to me. And that's where I really want this to grow into. Something else that's been puzzling me during all these years is how many combinations there really are to the puzzle. So I asked the question to math professors, to astronauts. I sent in the question to the nerdiest math communities on the World Wide Web. And they couldn't give me any answer. Not a valid one. They gave me some hints on how I could calculate it, but I was like, no, I don't understand. But then came ChatGPT and AI. It's a mixed feeling to AI. I don't really like the art, but I like the chats. But then I could finally ask my weird questions. So I was eager to find out how many solutions there is to the 32-piece puzzle. So I gave each piece a number from 1 to 32, and then I gave AI, and then I gave AI some rules on how to use this list. And after some minutes of calculations, it came up with a total amount of 29,376 combinations. And I think that's staggering. I asked if the AI could give me 10 random ways to assemble the puzzle, and all of them were correct. So far, so good, but I don't really trust the AI, so if there's anyone out there that is really good at math and could figure this out, I'm very interested to talk with you. So there's so many combinations. And when you get to know the puzzle, you can challenge yourself to do more complex combinations. And that's usually how I play with it. I mean, to assemble it the first time, it's quite easy because there's so many combinations. But then to like really go into finding all these weird tessellations, that's so fun, and I still have fun with these puzzles. I played the 32-piece puzzle 1,000 times, and I can still like feel something satisfying about playing. So in that sense, there's more levels to this puzzle. So it's not only one way, there's different levels, some are harder than others. So what happens when we do this kind of shape-based infinity puzzles? It kind of evokes different reactions from people who play it. Some love the characters, some get mesmerized by the infinite possibilities. And it usually triggers spark of inspiration and creativity. So when we're playing with a shape-based puzzle like this, we activate our spatial thinking. So that's our ability to visualize and rotate objects with our thoughts. And that's not only good for puzzle making, it's also good for looking at the problem from different directions. And so I think when we're doing puzzles, we get better at other things too. And the endless ways of combinations make us think outside of the box, where there's no right or wrong, only many solutions to one problem. So I wonder how we could use this in group exercises, or how we might use this in therapy, or how might we use this in school settings, or how might we use this to develop problem-solving skills. So now this is an infinite puzzle with infinite possibilities. That's what I've learned so far. I've gone to so many places, and people ask me to show it at so many different places. So I'm intrigued to see where this would go, and that's why I would like some help from you to answer some questions. So we will go into a second phase of this presentation, where you will help me to answer some questions. But first, I would like to do an energizer to kickstart your energies. So you have the 6-piece puzzle, the intro, on your table. Have you played around with it a little bit? Good. Okay, so now we're going to try some storytelling. So, I want you to pick one piece each from the table. So if you're more than 6 people, then you can share with your neighbor. And if you're less than 6 people, you get to take 4 pieces. Okay, have you picked your piece? Yes, good. Can you feel connected to your piece? Okay, now I want you to give a name to your character. Just something simple. A name, a small name. Okay, so now we have a character each, and it has a name. Now I would like you to assemble the puzzle together while telling a story about how they met each other. So you start with one piece, and you tell, oh, this is the frog, da 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 da. And he's from here. And then you connect the next piece by telling how do they know each other, where did they meet. And I will give you a few minutes to do this, and this is just to get you talking. Okay.
How we bonded. We were under the, so we all sat They called us the children's Bible, and that's how we
Okay. Are you done? Almost. Okay. I would like to hear other stories. It sounds like you had a lot of fun. So now I will ask you for some help. We're going to do a little bit longer workshop. So, at the table where you found the puzzles, there's also a few questions that I would like you to answer. So now I would like one person from each table to go to that table, get one piece of paper, a few pencils, and some post-its. Looks like everybody got their paper, some post-its, some pencils, and they have the puzzle too to interact with. So for this second part, first of all, I'm so grateful for your help. This is some questions that I'm trying to figure them out, and what is a better place to ask all of these beautiful, wonderful puzzle makers and puzzle enthusiasts at this festival. So I'm very grateful for your help, first of all. So you have gotten one paper each with 2 questions. And you're welcome to elaborate with these questions, help each other to come up with ideas. Great minds think alike. And if you feel that you want to find another question, there's actually different questions at each table. So if you want to, you can also interact with another table. Go there, have a look at their table. But if you want to stay with your group, that's totally fine. So we're going to do this for a few minutes, and I will walk around in the room, have a look at your brilliant ideas. And if you have any questions, just raise a hand, and I will come to you guys and have a chat. Okay, let's go.
I feel like now they go might have source of inspiration. Oh, nice. Does it have a catch on the front that's different than the That would be the exact way. No. Very interesting.
Okay, everybody. So thank you so much for your participation. I will look through all your answers and I will put the data online. So I will gather everything, I will put it on a document, and then I will post it on my LinkedIn if you're interested to see how many good ideas you came up with. Great. Perfect. So I am 100% independent. So I also want to reach out if you would like to do a collaboration. If you know any partners, investors, distributors, mentors that I should meet, please come to me and contact me. I have some business cards. You can please give me your business card. And in the playroom, I have my 96-piece puzzle. I know that some of you already have seen it and played around with it. It's super fun. It will be there today too. Please enjoy, and if you have any questions, come up with me. And here's, oh yeah, let's do a Q&A. If you have some questions that come up during the presentation. Yes.
Did you have your cloth specially made for your shirt?
Yes. So the question was about my shirt. This is my puzzle, and I'm super happy about it. I just made it for this this conference, and I'm very happy about it. I was also supposed to give you some credit on your shirt, and it's very nice. We both have puzzle shirts.
You called your big puzzle O, didn't you? A-W-E at first.
Yeah, that's correct. So the biggest puzzle was called the O first, and then I changed it to Summits. Yeah.
Oh, I thought O was awesome.
You thought I was awesome. I might change back actually. I'm not sure about this. I'm still. I'm not sure about anything. So I'm like trying to move around. That's why I also ask you all these questions. So thank you for that input. Okay, no more questions. Then I have 2 QR codes. This is very technical, but you can use your phones and then you can scan them. And the left one is my Instagram, and the right one is my business card. So then you get my contact in your phone. And there's my website, my address home, and more stuff. And that's it from me. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.